3, 2, 1. We are live.
Welcome to the iOS Lead Essentials podcast. Here we discuss the strategies in your journey to level up as an iOS developer. That is, achieve technical excellence and increase your income. Seriously increase your income.
Seriously.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Caio. And the topic today is CI required for the top 10% iOS dev salaries? Or do you need it to make it to the top 10% iOS dev salaries? And just to remind you, the top 10% salaries are the very high salaries that are above what 90% of developers make in a specific location. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
For example, in the US, that's $200,000 or more a year as a permanent employee. In the UK, it's 100,000 pounds. And in Brazil, there will be 200,000 reais a year. So as you can see, there's difference depending on the market, depending on the country, the city, and so on. Regardless where you live, you can find out what the top 10% salaries are. And of course, it's achieving this salary without working more. The goal is to make much more by working the same amount of hours. Make sense?
Yep.
Look at that. And we are live. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we are taking questions. So participate. You can see already some well-known faces here. People from Brazil, UK, Lebanon, Pakistan,
yep. All over the world. Once more.
Spain, Mexico. Fabio says, yes, it is required. End of life.
Well, spoiler alert.
All right, we're ready. Let's start. Okay, look at that. People from LinkedIn as well. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Jose, hello. Bom
Hey,
dia,
guys.
Brazil. US. Awesome. Okay, so what is CI? What is it and why do you need it? So CI is short for continuous integration, right? It's the practice of merging code, merging your work, right? Checking in your code into a main branch with great speed and frequency, like several times a day, instead of having long-lived branches for, I don't know, weeks and months. You're continually merging your work with other developers with great speed and frequency. Make sense?
Right.
Several times a day. No long-lived branches. And every time you merge, the CI, right, the continuous integration pipeline that should be automated, will build the project, make sure everything is working correctly, and will run fast and reliable tests. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because if there are any regressions, you will see it immediately and fix them immediately.
Okay. Yep.
So the main branch is never broken. You continually merging code, sharing what you've done with other developers without breaking the build, without breaking functionality.
That's a dream right there.
Make sense?
Yep.
So out of this process, you also will generate builds from your code base that can be automatically deployed as well. It's all about automation. So continuous integration, sometimes it's confused with having a CI server. But having a CI server doesn't guarantee you're doing continuous integration. Because you can have a CI server and still not integrate your work several times a day, right? Quickly and frequently.
Mm-hmm.
it might actually get in the way. The CI server can be like the bottleneck in your team if not done well, right? So CI is not merging code without running tests as well. You need to have good tests. And it's not merging code manually as well, because you want to automate so you don't waste time. Make sense?
That's it.
So it's a process. It's not a server. It's not like a tool.
A tool. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
We use tools to enable that, right? To help with the automation. And we might set up like a CI pipeline, some servers. We might buy some hardware to make it possible. But the idea of continuous integration, it is a process, right? Of merging your work with other developers several times a day with confidence. So you need good tests, fast and reliable tests. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, this is important. It is not a tool. It is not like a service, a software as a service that you can buy and you say, okay, now I have CI in my team, in my company. Nope. As you said, it's a process, a very disciplined process that, yes, you can use these tools to enable you to automate and deploy everything, like very, very fast and all the time, for example.
So it requires good version control and fast and reliable tests that you trust. Because if you don't trust your tests, you're not going to trust the process. You're not going to get the benefits of continuous integration.
That's it.
Make sense? So tests are the key here. They enable continuous integration. Without tests, you cannot do continuous integration. You're going to have to run a bunch of manual checks when you merge your code. Make sense?
Yes.
And that's why testing is so important as well. You don't do testing just for the sake of testing. It's just like the first step, testing, because then you can enable a bunch of powerful automations on top of a trustworthy test suite. Make sense?
Yes.
So Thomas is asking if it's constantly merging to master. Yes, if master is your main branch where you share the code with other developers, then yes. How does that work in Git flow feature branch? Or have master, develop, release, hotfix? The idea is that you'll be constantly merging code to a main branch, whatever your main branch is. If it's develop, that's where you're going to be merging code.
That's it.
Make sense? That's why we say main branch and not master branch, whatever names you use. But the idea is that you have feature branches, hot fixes, and they shouldn't be long-lived branches. You'll be merging the feature branches several times a day. So it's the main branch, whatever it is, develop, master, it's always up to date. Everyone's work is there and it's stable. Make sense?
That's it.
Awesome. So CI, continuous integration, enables even more powerful automation. So you have tests, and tests enable continuous integration. And continuous integration, with all this automation, enables continuous delivery. Right? Because you can generate builds every time you merge code. And this build can be sent, for example, automatically to QA engineers or to stakeholders to try out the app. Right? So a continuous delivering work every time you merge new features, every time you merge your work, you send a build to your stakeholders so they can see the progress. It increases transparency with the business. It's life-changing.
It is. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like a factory line, where you just put builds on that line and it just ships to clients, to stakeholders, to anyone. And it's like continuous, it's like just you keep producing and they keep receiving all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's truly amazing.
It allows you to and your team to deliver value, as I say, continuously
All
to
the time.
customers or stakeholders.
Yeah.
Imagine like stakeholders waiting for weeks or months to see what you're working on.
Yeah.
Imagine it builds up a lot of anxiety. What if they see like every day they receive like 5 new builds? Like
Exactly.
they're not even gonna check like, okay, things are
No.
moving, like
Yeah, exactly.
they know what they're doing. Like let them
Yep.
do the work.
It builds up the confidence.
Exactly. And going a step further, when you really trust this process, the team can achieve continuous deployment.
Mhm.
When there's been like a long time, code has been merged, features are being developed, and there's not there are no bugs. And we trust
Mhm.
that when the tests pass, everything works. Then you can automatically deploy your application to the App Store. Automatically, every time you merge code and you're happy, you press the button and boom, it goes to the store. Automatically. Make sense?
That's it. Yes.
I know a lot of people are going to say, no, this is impossible. It is possible. And there are a lot of teams doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, say people saying trunk-based development helps a lot. Yes,
It is very true. The statement.
trunk-based development, it is very, very, very good. I'm going to talk
Yes.
about it in another podcast as well.
Yeah, we should say not only it is not impossible. Did I say that right? Yes, it is possible.
It is possible.
It is possible. It's what allows like the mobile at scale projects to be what they are. Like imagine having an app that is being used worldwide in like a bunch of markets there. It's just you just can't delay stuff. Like you want to always be delivering greatness to your customers so you can keep growing and growing and growing.
What
So
about large teams as well, with like hundreds of developers working together? You need to merge
yeah.
your code as often as possible. If you wait to merge your code for 2 weeks, it's gone. Like
Yeah.
you won't be able to merge it again.
No.
So that's it. We use continuous integration, right, to improve the productivity of the team, but there are higher goals on top of that, like continuous delivery and deployment. So CI is just the first step, right? Because teams that achieve the continuous deployment pipeline, they can more rapidly deliver value to the customers and adapt to market changes, right? They're very, very competitive businesses. So businesses want this power, this high level of productivity. And if you can deliver that, of course, you're going to get much higher offers. Question: is Fastlane a great tool to use in this CI/CD flow? Yes, it is a great tool. It helps a lot, but you don't need it. Like we usually don't use it, but it can help a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is the important thing we said in the beginning. Like, it's not about the tools, right? It's about the process. Now, if there are tools and they can help you expedite or make more efficient the whole thing, sure, use them with care and responsibly. Yeah.
Yeah, because when the tools break, it's not fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because the final idea is to ship stable versions of your app as often as possible. So you're always delivering more and more value to customers, to stakeholders. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate measurement of productivity. How many times you release stable versions of the app? It shouldn't be every 3 or 6 months. It should be maybe weekly. At some point,
Yeah.
there are teams that do it like daily.
Daily. Yes. Exactly.
Daily. So ship, ship, ship. The fewer ceremonies, the best. The better.
Absolutely. You don't want to have like a party or whatever every time. It's just like, no, it's like any
True.
other thing in your team, in your process, in your daily work. Yeah, shipped. Okay, cool. Next one.
Yeah, at some point, you don't even think about it anymore. You merge the
Yeah.
code, you know it's going to be deployed, and that's it. You move on with your life.
Yep.
That's the dream.
Absolutely.
So CI leads to better and more productive teamwork, faster delivery, safer mergers, no merge conflicts, right? No long-lived branches. And of course, more transparency with the business, which is something you should aim to. If they're happy, you'll be happy.
Yeah,
It's much easier to negotiate deadlines with your boss when they're happy with the process and they trust you that you're doing the best, right?
that's it.
Build that trust and you can get whatever you want. But what if you are a solo developer? Is it worth it? Is it worth to set up a CI process if you are a solo iOS developer? I think it is. Even when I'm working on my own projects alone, I set up this process because I don't need to do manual steps, you know? I have a process that I trust. I'm always like writing the tests, merging the code, and deploying my apps. No ceremonies, you know, very easily I can deploy new versions of the app.
Exactly.
People are asking what tools do you use for CI? I'm gonna get there. So even as a solo developer, you avoid wasting time with manual steps. And also, if your solo developer project grows, you can more easily accommodate more developers as well.
That's it.
Make sense?
That's it.
Because if you're working for a company as a solo developer, doesn't mean you're going to be working alone forever, right? At some point they might hire more people. Maybe that's the goal already. So you already have the whole automation in place to accommodate new developers. And if you're a team with 3 people, right, a small team, 3 people or more, I think it's mandatory. In my opinion, it's mandatory to set up a CI process. 3 developers is already, you already start having merge conflicts. You start already get in each other's way if you don't set up automation. Makes sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So I would say it's mandatory. I remember joining a small team, 3 people building a banking app. And I was hired to replace a lead developer in London that was fired. The team was failing. The project was 3 months late and not even close to finished. Now imagine the conversation with the business, how hard it was. There was no trust in the dev team. Every developer was trying to do their best. But needless to say, there was no trust, right? It was very hard to negotiate deadlines. In fact, like on my first day there, we had a meeting and the CFO was like screaming at everyone for like 10 minutes out of desperation.
Yeah.
It was not like a great display of leadership from him, but like they had a point. Like the team was failing, and like if this project fails, like everyone was gonna be fired, right? It was not like a good position to be in. And of course, there was no automation. There were like branches in there that people didn't even know how long it was sitting there, and if there was any important work. Some developers would come and go, and like some work would just be left in some feature branches that no one merged ever. So imagine the situation. It was not easy, it was not easy. But one of the first things I did was to set up a CI pipeline and start changing this culture of long-lived branches, people working in silos, and actually merging their code often. Pairing more as well. So we eliminate a lot of wasted time with code reviews. And automation. Because the business would wait 3 months to see an app. And when they looked at the app, they didn't like it. Like it doesn't do what we expected. But if you ship it every day, they can see what's going on. And very rapidly you can get feedback if we are going on the right direction. Make sense?
That's it.
Because that was the goal. We set up together as a team. We decided we're going to write tests and we're going to build this automation pipeline that will help us be more productive and build the trust again with the business. It was not easy. It took at least 2 months for us to start trusting the process enough. Trusting the tests and building up like from zero coverage.
Yeah.
And the project was not small,
Yeah.
but like little by little, like little by little, as a team, we got there. So regardless in whatever position you are right now in a team that maybe it's failing as well, getting each other's way, you can set up, change the culture in the team, and automate as much as you can, right?
Yeah. And just one, in my opinion, extremely important thing you just said is like it took you 2 months, right? So if it doesn't work for a week or 2 weeks, don't give up, or a month even, like you need to trust the process. You need to understand that the process works. The fundamentals are good. They are all about transparency. They're all about providing value to your stakeholders, to your customers. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to deal with very big pull requests and start like preparing the team to work in smaller batches, like monitor the lifetime of their branches. These are hard things. So yeah, it can take some time.
Yeah, and as a lead developer, you should aim for the whole team to actually enforce their own rules, right? You're not there to just say, okay, you're going to start testing your code right now, and we're going to automate everything. If they don't know how to do it, you're going to have to pair and teach them how to do it. You're going
Absolutely.
to help them, because as a lead developer, you're there. Your job is to make the team thrive. Whatever they need, you need to provide them, right? If they don't have the skills, you need to find a way to provide them the skills. Some training, you're going to pair with them, right? You cannot just tell them, hey, from now on, we need to write tests, good tests, fast tests that you trust. You need to have a CI pipeline. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
how are they going to do that if they don't know how to, right?
Yes.
So you need to provide them the tools, the resources for them to do a good job as well. So, by the way, by this story, like by the end, we were shipping good, stable versions of the app like 3-4 times a day, 5 times a day. And no one was yelling at us, screaming at us ever again as well.
Yes.
Let's see some comments here. No, if you don't use CI on solo projects, it's the same as don't test. If it grows, you will be probably never do it later. Yes. Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
If possible, start from day one. I mean, it is possible. Start from day one.
It's the words of a man that has experienced the pain right there.
All right. So, is it worth it for small teams? Yes. It's worth it for solo developers? Yes. What about large teams? I don't think it's worth it. I think it's required or mandatory.
Yes.
It's impossible to be productive if there's no automation with large teams. Everyone gets on each other's way.
Yes. Very, very
I've ever
simply.
worked with hundreds of engineers. It's madness. If you don't have a good development process, putting more engineers in the team will make things slower, not faster. Not just slower, like things are gonna stuck.
It's,
You're gonna get stuck.
yeah.
They will not move. Will be like
Yes.
immobile.
Yes.
So, in my opinion, yes, absolutely. If you are a large development team and you don't have automation, continuous integration, you're wasting a lot of time and resources. And probably the team is not happy as well when you get it in each other's ways. Make sense?
That's it.
So I believe you must. You must. Because like maybe 10 years ago, there were excuses not to do it because it was hard, There were no good systems. Like I remember buying Mac Minis, like buying our own hardware to build those CI servers in-house and dealing with like a lot of scripting that was flaky, unstable. Remember Xcode server bots? It was very, very unstable.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was. Yeah.
It felt like a huge waste of time, But nowadays, there's no excuse. There are even like free services.
Yeah.
So why do people invest time and money on CI? Because it saves time and money. It's an investment. But CI is not always good. It's not guaranteed to be good, right? Not creating like setting a CI server and expecting everything to improve on its own. That's not how it works, right? It depends how good the implementation is, how good your test suite is, how good your tools are, how fast your tests are. Because if it takes 10 hours to run the tests, how often are you going to run them? Not a lot, right? I'm going to run them overnight.
Yeah.
So it's not like CI doesn't do magic, right? A CI server doesn't do magic. The process needs to be good. The implementation needs to be good. Otherwise, it may make things worse.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good question. As a solo freelancer, is it necessary for developers to set up a CI or CD pipeline for the clients so the clients can check progress on a daily basis? Absolutely.
Yeah, essential.
Absolutely. Because like every time someone hires a freelancer, there's a lot of anxiety. Are they doing the right thing? When they're going to ship it? You know, especially like if you're hiring someone that don't work in the same office, right? You don't know. You want to see the work. So it doesn't build anxiety. You keep showing progress every day, 5 times a day. They get new builds. Like, oh my god, I can play with this app.
Yes. Gather feedback.
It's gonna improve so much your relationship with your clients. Absolutely. And it doesn't take a lot of time. First thing you do, you get a new client, you set up a CI pipeline, so they receive everything you do as soon as possible. Make sense?
That's it.
But again, as we're saying here, CI pipeline is not always good, right? If you don't trust your tests and you keep shipping like buggy apps to your clients, maybe it's going to backfire. So the implementation needs to be good. The dev process needs to be good as well. So you have a good CI process as well. Make sense?
That's it.
Like I remember joining a company with a large team of developers where the CI pipeline took 5 hours, 5 hours to finish. And after these 5 hours, we still didn't trust that the app worked. So we would go through a long manual checking QA process that would take days, sometimes weeks. And if there's a bug, it comes back to the team. And then we fix, and it goes back for a couple of weeks for more QA testing. Imagine that.
You release twice a year. That's the result.
Absolutely. That was the case. When I joined the team, they were releasing every 6 months. There was a lot of ceremony, like get like champagnes every time, like you release the app, They're like big events, and that's not good. That's not good. Like there were like 2 developers and 2 DevOps engineers just to keep the machine moving, and they were not happy as well because things were breaking all the time. It felt like a huge waste of time. You know what I mean? Like you put all this effort, you wait like 5 hours, and you still have to do a bunch of manual checks afterwards.
Yeah.
And you still find a lot of bugs and regressions, and it comes back, right? And everything was so slow. Like they were going to buy 250,000 pounds of hardware to speed things up, to maybe speed things up by an hour. Stack a bunch of like Mac Pros at the time. So,
Yep.
how much do you think it costs the business? The manager at the time told me 5 million pounds a year is the cost they estimated with staff, hardware, software, cost of real work, delays, clients not getting new versions of the app with the features they wanted, and so on. You lose sales. No one was happy. The business was not happy. The developers were not happy. The DevOps engineer was not happy. Like, no one was happy. No one was gaining anything, right? That's why it's important not just to set up a CI server and expect for the best, but to create a good process, sustainable process. Right, so good tests is mandatory, good version control. And if the team cannot do it, you need to provide them training. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Because imagine if you can implement a strategy to reduce this cost, like from 5 to maybe 2 million. You save the business, what? A fortune. And that's why these companies can pay £200,000, $300,000 for developers that can create this sustainable development process, that can lead the team to achieve this level of productivity. Make sense?
Yep.
It's not because it's just economics, it's like you're saving them a fortune. It just makes sense.
Exactly.
Any questions about it? So that's it. If you have those skills and you can help the dev team achieve a productive CI process, you're saving the company a fortune. And that's why you can get the highest salaries. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what makes it good? Starts in the coding process, not in the CI server. Because imagine that the DevOps engineer cannot do magic, and stack more and more hardware and trying to make things faster.
No.
And or hiring more QA engineers to find regressions as well. It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale. So it needs to start in the dev process. Make sense? The CI server is not enough.
Yeah. I mean, you can stack and stack and stack hardware, and so you can be at the same point, like it's not a good strategy.
Yeah, we may save an hour or two, make it a bit faster.
Yeah. Maybe.
But that's not the bottleneck, right?
No.
The thing is, the implementation is the most important thing, right? Because if the process is lousy, the CI server can do magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you baking a cake and not following the recipe, even if the oven is good, it's working properly, you cannot do magic, right? It's not going to fix the cake for you.
The oven, yeah, no.
The same idea. So a good dev process and good coding practices, right, will feed good things into the CI machine, right, into the CI server, the CI, all the automation, the tools you're using, and that will lead to a productive CI process. But tools don't do magic. It's all in the dev process, and having these skills will get you the higher and higher offers. Simple as that. And if you don't, what happens if you don't do CI? Long-lived branches, rework, merge conflicts, delayed releases. What else? Manual steps, right? That leads to mistakes. Low morale in the team.
Yeah.
No one's going to be happy. No one wins. It's like a lose-lose situation.
Yes.
Have like long recycles, 3 to 6 months, instead of short sprints, releasing daily or weekly, and so on. Right? That's why a good CI process is so important. Not just a CI process, but a good one. Okay, Bruno is asking, do you run many UI tests in your CI? They might slow the process, right? Yes, if running the UI tests will increase the confidence in your app, you're going to run them. And they might slow the process, right? Yes, that's why we tell you that you should rely more on fast and reliable unit tests. Or maybe some integration tests that actually don't go through the UI, like a black box. And you can also try to improve and speed up your UI tests. If you absolutely need them, that's fine. You can have UI tests. But it doesn't mean they should be slow or flaky.
Yes, but if it's your primary strategy of testing,
Yeah,
then
it shouldn't be.
you're destined to have slow.
Remember the pyramid, right?
Yes.
A lot of unit tests, a few integration tests, and even less UI tests at the top, just to give you enough confidence, if required.
And
Make
Pratik
sense?
says, so before starting CI, you need to write good tests and learn version control. Yeah, as we said, like focus on these processes, like testing, for example. Yes, using version control correctly. Right.
And you might have to learn some tooling as well,
Yeah,
some CI tools, servers, and how it works. Awesome.
that's it.
So that's it. A good CI process is important and will help you lead productive dev teams, which of course will get you the top 10% salary offers. Even more. Even more. Like seriously, imagine if you save a company $1 million a year. They'll pay you whatever.
Yes.
Whatever you ask, 2,000 pounds a day. Sure. Still saving a fortune. So some indicators you need to look for in your CI process to say, is it good or is it bad? Build and test times. How long does it take to build your project and run the tests? If it's too slow, you need to speed it up. It's supposed to be fast. A couple of minutes, never hours. And measure this over time as well. Maybe it's fast now, but things keep piling up. And maybe 3 months from now, it takes an hour. You need constant care.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Very
the word,
important.
care.
Yes. Yes, very important. So you have to also monitor not just, like a snapshot of things, how they are right now, but you also need to be mindful about how things have been progressing over time, right? So you want this over time derivative there. Yeah.
Exactly. Other indicators. Merge count per day. How many merges to the main branch you have per day? Right? A low value or like 0 is not good. Indicates possible problems. Right? If you're merging code, I don't know, every 2 weeks, maybe try to merge every week and then shorten the cycle until you are merging your work several times a day with confidence. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And a high value of merges per day shows, indicates a healthy development cycle.
Exactly.
And also check this over time, because maybe you're merging many times today, but 3 months from now, things start slowing down. Maybe the team grows, there are more developers joining, and you need to adjust the process for the new setup. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Which means maybe some developers are not familiar with the process and you need to train them and help them be more productive. Another metric, indicator, number of bugs and regressions. Because maybe you're merging code many times a day, but it's leading to a lot of regressions and you don't want that, right? You want to trust the process. So it shouldn't be breaking the build. It shouldn't be introducing regressions and bugs as well, because you want to go fast without breaking things all the time. What is the Facebook motto? Move fast and break things?
Right.
No, I don't recommend that strategy. So when is the best time to start creating a CI process? Let's see in the chat. I think people already said it. The best time is when you start a project, right?
Yes.
And the second best time is now, as soon as possible.
Exactly.
There are a lot of free tools nowadays. Much, much easier. Someone mentioned Fastlane here as well. It's a tool that can help you get started as well. But you don't need it. You don't need it. You get even on GitHub, if your code is on GitHub, you get GitHub Actions running on the latest macOS versions, Xcode versions. It's always up to date. It's pretty good.
Impressive.
And fast.
Yes.
And it's free. If you're just starting out, you can go with a free solution and you can invest in a paid one, a better one when needed. And we have a bunch of videos on YouTube as well, showing in detail how to set up your CI pipeline for free, your first CI pipeline. So if you don't have resources, time, money, or hardware, you don't need it, right? You can start very quickly with free services. You just need to do a Google search. There are a bunch of them. I have Bitrise, Travis CI, what else? GitHub Actions,
Circle
CI, and so on.
Yep.
Yeah, people are saying when is it time? As soon as possible. ASAP. Yes.
That's it.
But you need to write tests, right? Just setting up a CI automation pipeline without tests is not going to do magic. Remember, right? You don't do CI without fast and reliable tests that you trust. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of regressions, right? The CI process is good if the development process is good as well. You need to trust the test suite. Because if you don't trust it, you're not going to merge the code. You're going to have to run a bunch of manual checks.
Yes.
And that wastes time, right? And if you want to get to the top 10% salaries, you need to be very productive and help the team be very productive as well. Automate, no ceremonies for deployment, no ceremonies for merging code. You don't need to open a champagne bottle every time you release the app. You can, but you shouldn't have to celebrate it that much. It should be just like a normal thing that happens several times a day.
Exactly.
Someone said App Center as well. I never tried this one. Is it good, App Center for CI? I'm not sure. Have you tried it, Mike?
I have not. I do not know App Center.
Okay, someone said, if you have a modular architecture, you can decide when and which UI test to run in order to make the pipeline more efficient. Exactly. If you have a modular architecture, you can make changes to one module and you only have to run the test for that module instead of running the test for the whole code base, because things are isolated and changes only affect small portions of the code base. Absolutely, that's it. Modular architecture will make things much faster as well. Make sense? And remember, the CI is not always good. Right? There are bad CI processes. It depends on the implementation.
Exactly. It can be a liability as well.
CI is there to make things better, not to slow down the process. But I've seen many CI processes that made everyone's lives miserable. No one liked it. So listen to the team. When they are complaining about it, there's something wrong. Help them improve it. Make sense?
Yes.
Every company that's serious about technical excellence does it. Every company. Especially the ones that will pay you the top 10% salaries.
Yes.
Because it's going to save them a fortune.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Exactly. At the end of the day, is an economical thing. It's not like a tech thing. No, it's about the business. It's about the customers, and you get to be part of that, and you get to improve that whole economical pipeline. So absolutely, they do it. Yeah, exactly, because they want to provide more value which they can translate to economical value. So
Absolutely. Everyone will be happier. Developers, the business, the clients, the customers. Okay, Travis CI just changed their free plan on macOS builds. Yes, it's not free anymore. Okay. GitHub Actions then. Bitrise. Yeah.
yeah, Bruno is asking, apart from your tests, which other jobs do you consider important to add to the process? Example, SwiftLint. So this, for me, the answer is it depends on the needs of your team. It's like whatever it is that you think it is important to run. I don't think there's like a rule there. So
Yeah, I
maybe
think like
monitor.
Swift linting can help keep the code consistent, If it helps, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Any other questions?
No, Jose says apparently App Center is by Microsoft. Okay, thank you, Jose.
Say it's really good.
Yep.
Awesome. I'll give it a try. All right, so that's it. That's it for today. So if you want to stay on the right path, subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely.
And if you enjoyed this video, send us your like. Any more questions? Yes. Is there any advantage for using paid services? Testing on real devices, like Buddy Build, or testing on simulators is good enough? Well, paid services will provide you better hardware, faster, usually faster CI processes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The free ones, you're added to a queue, like with some VMs that are running, and you get what you get.
Yes.
Over time, as your process matures, you're probably going to get a paid service that doesn't force you to have your code base open source. If you want to close source, you might have to look for paid solutions. And if there are some cases where you can only test things on real devices, right?
Yes, exactly.
There are functionality that doesn't work on simulators. If you are implementing this kind of functionalities, then it may be important to run on real devices.
Yeah. That's the big one, I believe.
Awesome. So that's it. Subscribe to the channel. We are committed to helping you get to these top 10% salaries in 2021. If you want to learn more, visit academy.essentialdeveloper.com. Someone is asking, when is your next training session? The iOS Lead Essentials. We just sold out.
Yep.
Sometime, I don't know, February maybe we open another one. I don't know yet.
Yeah, that was the last cohort of 2020. So yeah, subscribe.
Academy.essentialdeveloper.com. We'll send you an email when it's time.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for watching and happy holidays.
Bye, yo.
We'll see you again next time.